jail's not that bad. It's
All views expressed by the hosts and guests in this podcast are solely their opinions and do not reflect the opinions of their respective employers. Guests and hosts may maintain positions in the assets discussed in this podcast. This podcast is for informational purposes only, and nothing in the podcast is intended to be financial, legal, or even life advice.
All right, folks, welcome back to More Than Speculation, your crypto podcast where we talk with builders, founders, and operators in the space. Today's episode, we actually have a very unique project. I think one of the most unique that I've personally seen in the past 12 months. We have Reffo from Puffpaw. But before we start, I'm going to start with a few rapid fire questions. I'm going to ask the first two and then I'm going to pass it on to you, Lambro. So, Reffo, shisha or vape?
Vape.
Which one is more important to determine a crypto project success? IQ 50 or getting the IQ 150?
50, definitely 50.
What's the best?
Do you want a short answer? Do you want a short answer or a fast answer? Long answer.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Like shorter. Yeah.
What's the best sector to be in right now, other than DePIN and crypto, and not memes?
Personally, I'm still. I'm trying to find a... So is that for me personally or just in general?
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I am really just looking into DePIN right now, to be honest. I don't even have time to trade meme token or do any of the trading. I don't even have time to farm for airdrop.
What's your unconventional view on crypto currently?
Unconventional. That's a good question. I think people are spent too much on the meme coin, and I think this is not sustainable in the long term. After people get tired of the meme coin, after people playing, create names for all of the animals, they're gonna come back to vegetables. No, I'm joking. They're gonna come back to the real value.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
To the real value.
Is Bera a real chain?
It is a real chain.
All love you, Smokey. Okay.
All right. Yeah, if you don't mind doing a quick intro about yourself, maybe your crypto journey, and let's start from there.
Yeah. Again, thanks for having me here. I'm super excited to be here today.
Pleasure.
I'm Reffo. Yeah, I'm Reffo. I'm co-founder of Puffpaw. We're 3 co-founders actually. I'm more on the Web3 side. My other 2 co-founders, they are in the vape industry for a long time. We're college friends. Personally, I've been in the space for several years. I actually came into the space during 2020 pandemic and DeFi summer. Everything's all together. Started just playing, have fun as a degen, player in the space, and started to build my first NFT project. And my last project was a SocialFi project on Arweave, and now this is my 3rd project actually, and it's the first time we've been gone this far. And I'm super excited about Vape2Earn. Yeah.
Nice.
Why are you working on vape, by the way? I'm just curious if there's like a personal story there that inspired you to work on vape.
Yeah, because like I said, my other 2 co-founders, we're college friends. They've been in the vape industry for a long time since graduation from college. We went to Lehigh University in Pennsylvania, United States, and they've been in the industry doing the brands, the products, supply chain, everything. And I know I've just been keep watching that industry, and I started to helping them out since 2020, as a part-time, helping them with a business development and marketing in the US. So that's how I kind of, as a side guy looking at that traditional industry is very interesting and is actually developing very fast. It's booming. Vaporizer it's a booming industry, vape industry. And me personally, I've been in Web3 going into all of the crypto conferences, side events. Everybody's smoking, right? If you guys have been to East Denver or any of the crypto events, people are just waiting outside, waiting in the line, try to get into events or just chill there and smoking, vaping. It's a very big overlapping between the traders, investors, crypto folks, and the vape industry. Even when sometimes you talk with the other folks in the industry and say, hey, by the way, I have a vape business. Like I run a smoke shop. My cousin is it's a dealer, it's a distributor, whatever. So it's like that. Like I've had this idea for a long time. What if we can use the vape and to earn crypto? That's just like my very degen idea. It has been there for a long time, but to be honest with you, it takes a lot of courage to make it happen, right? So last year, the second half of last year, when I sunset my last project because the market was so bad, I went back to the vape space. I helped my the other two co-founders, my friends, just to build the vape business in the US. And at the end of last year, I just told them, hey, I really like this idea. I think we should build it out. And I started to write a white paper. I started to talk to all of the folks in the Web3 space, and just step by step from the white paper and get our first check, and then pull them in to build this thing with me together, and come to where we are today.
Nice. Wow, so many questions. Okay, so I recently started vaping just because I took it off someone's hand.
Really?
After drinking. I just randomly took it off someone after drinking, so I was like, fuck it, let's do it. So I imagine the vaping business is like, this is how I imagine it, how I see it, right? It's going to be start with a brand, with a vapor, and then you have the pods. The pods can be like the real ones from the brand, or just the ones that have the same thing. Can I get one of that later?
This is retardio. That's a retardio. I just made it for fun, Yeah, that's the pod.
Nice.
Yeah. Go ahead. Do the introduction. I just want to show people this is a vape we do. Yep.
Nice. See, this is what top quality from a founder. Like you need to find a way to shield your product anytime. But yeah. So you have the pod. Then from the pod, you sell the pod. Then you sell the filler. I guess the filler, and then I guess some filler can fit into different types of pods. I guess there's the branding of like the liquid in the pod, and I guess there's a distributor where they sell online that just makes a commission. Again, maybe there's some local smoke shops that distribute and take stock or not take stock kind of thing. Did I miss any part of the business journey?
That's pretty much. So it's a pod, right? You're 100% right. This is a pod, and this is a vape. We are actually selling the vape with our NFT. So initially, we're selling the Genesis NFT. People will get a free vape if they buy the NFT, and they will get several free pods. But this pod is a closed pod. We are not allowing users to refill this pod by themselves. If you can refill the pods by yourself, there's no way for us to monitor that activities. You can just refill infinitely, and you can refill whatever you want. You can even refill water, right? There's no way for us to monitor that. So this is a disposable pod. Is disposable, but you have to keep the vape. So this pod only gives you like 1,000 puffs. It's actually lower than the traditional pods in the industry. So in the market. So you buy this pod and you put a pod onto a vape. At the bottom of each pod, you have the encrypted chip, and you also have the chip inside. So every time you put a pod onto the vape, that's actually connect to our mobile app. We have the Bluetooth module inside. So that's when we're gonna identify the identification number of each of the pod and the vape via our mobile app. So we know that today you're buying our vape. This is a vape that you have, and this is the pod that you bought, supposedly to go with this vape. That's how we make sure there's no Sybil attack, and that's how we make sure to monitor all of the activities. Like from this vape, we can monitor 5 different data: the timestamp of each puff, duration of each puff, amount of puffs that you have in a single day, and the nicotine level and flavor. So that's the 5 data we can monitor from this device, and using all of that data, we can create a fun mechanism to incentivize smokers to quit nicotine addiction, because the incentive is like, if you choose with a non-nicotine pod, which is our main product, the non-nicotine juice, you vape more, you puff more, you can earn more crypto. But if you go with a higher level of the nicotine, the higher the nicotine, the lower of the incentive that will be on a single day.
Right.
And there's always a cap. Even for the non-nicotine pod, there's always a cap cut at 150. We don't want the users to puff infinitely. This is not a game to incentivize you to pick up smoking if you are a non-smoker. This is not a purpose. Yeah.
I'm a smoker already, bro. I gotta get one. I gotta get one of them.
We're gonna help you out.
Got it. Like, dude, like I think that was a good explanation because I think a lot of people when they only briefly glanced over the project on Twitter timeline, they might think it's like Vape2Earn, but when in reality, what you just described is like stop vaping to earn, right? It's sort of like that's why you have the cap system, and you can't just like sybil this like it's DeFi Kingdoms back then, right? Like it's not something that you can just spam basically. I want to take our conversation to for our listeners who might be less knowledgeable on BeraChain, POL, and like all of that. Just briefly, if you can like elaborate a bit more on, I guess like why did you choose to build on Bera, and how does that really help with your flow of points or slash reward system, I guess.
Yeah. I think that's a two-part of a question. The first part is how do we get onto the Bear chain?
Yeah.
Initial, like I said, we started to write a white paper at the end of the beginning of this year, actually. And the first time I met BeraChain is with MVP, the top, the best guy, one of the best guys on BeraChain. He's a BD of BeraChain. I met him at Stanford Blockchain Week last year. I wasn't doing anything. I was just there to learn and to have fun, meeting all of the infra projects and the folks there.
Right.
So I knew BeraChain, but I didn't really dig into what exactly BeraChain is until when we started to write a white paper. People are just telling me, hey, you need to find a chain. And this is a consumer product, right? You have several options, Base, Solana, or a new layer one. We look at a Base, we look at Solana, and we are trying to figure out where can we get the most out of that attention from the space? Where can we just go viral in the easiest way, in the fastest way? And that is actually BeraChain, because when we are looking at BeraChain at the beginning of this year, there was no DePIN project. There was no that many consumer projects on BeraChain at that time. And now it's a lot because it grows very fast. BeraChain grows very fast. So at that point, we just say, okay, let's just go with a new layer one. We're the first DePIN / consumer driven project on BeraChain, and that's very easily to stand out. So I went to East Denver. I talked to the foundation folks and went to their side event. It's crazy. It's viral. All of the big folks, all of the top tier, the project, the founders from other ecosystem, or the modular blockchain, all of the top tier infra guys, they were there. So I know this community really has that great, authentic attention. When you're seeing that off the chain, it's very different from Twitter. So that's the moment I get in touch with all of the Bera eco founders and OGs, and then just finally determined to go with them. And also besides of that, it's about the culture. The code, the culture, even their Genesis NFT Spawn Bear is a bear holding the bond, and it's very expensive, by the way. It's like over 50 Ethereum, the floor price right now. And also
crazy,
founders. Yeah, and the founder's name is Smokey. People are just very degen, DeFi driven, because they originate from Olympus DAO, right? So it's very DeFi, degen driven, those folks. And any of the BeraChain project, I think it's just very easy to understand, to be understood, going with BeraChain. So yeah, that's why we just go with them. And speaking of the proof of liquidity or the core mechanism, I think what we are doing is that since we are incubated by BeraChain, we are running our own validator. We have our own node, so we are going to incentivize our users to provide more liquidity, so that they can get more additional BGT rewards. Because we run our node, we can easily telling our folks that, hey, we're gonna allocate more of the emission, the rewards from the validator side to our pool, to our LP, or to incentivize other activities that directly benefits our own vape holders, our gamers. So that's the main utility from the proof of liquidity side for our game. And besides that, we're also working with all of the other core DeFi protocols on BeraChain. So whatever you want to play, we are like the entry gate for them. Onboard them as a real consumer, and if you want to enjoy more from our token to play the DeFi game, you can just easily hop on to the other protocols from us.
Sounds exciting already. So I'm actually personally very bullish on serial entrepreneurs, like not the serial entrepreneurs on Pump.Fun, but like people that have experience of launching.
They make a lot. They make a lot, I definitely respect that.
But yeah, so like love to pick your brains in like in what you learned from then and what kind of stuff did you put into this, or how did your co-founder kind of like march into this product, the right place, right time, right chain to such get great traction.
Yeah, I think so. First of all, I think serial entrepreneur, that's actually one of the core element that you're looking for. I've seen a lot of Web2, very successful Web2 entrepreneurs or founders get into Web3, and there's actually a big cultural, I would say, a cultural gap to create
100%.
a business in Web2. It's very different from Web3, and fortunately, this is my third project. I used to build the NFT project and the social fi project, last project that was like a frame in Farcaster, but without a Farcaster. So I've tried a lot of different stuff, and I know as a player, as a community member, I know how it feels. I know what people are looking for. I was rocked by Kevin Rose, by Moonbird, so I know a lot of that kind of shit in the space. So that's just from my side. And even before that, I was doing a lot of SaaS business in Web 2, and in the traditional world, in the real estate, we call it real estate tech, or prop tech, property technology. So I was doing a lot of that, and even before that, I was graduating. I had a BS with civil engineering, and I also get a master degree of real estate development from New York University. So I was in that space for a long time, and I think that has given me a lot of the foundation of how to build that business, to communicate, to negotiate, to talk. I think that's very important. How do you get a group of people together to work on something together? I think that's a core skill set for a founder. I think that's still very important in the Web3 side. So like I said, all of the previous experiences has given me a lot of great talents in my team. All of the marketing and community folks in my team, they actually work with me since my first project. So we've been working together for 2-3 years already. And one of the specialty of us is whitelist. Like, we know how to distribute, we know how to allocate whitelist to the different communities out there, not just on BeraChain. I think we are one of the best team have that kind of skill set. Even though NFT is not a narrative anymore, but I think people are not looking at NFT as NFT anyways. Right. NFT has other utilities in this cycle, right? In this cycle. So I think that's just for my side and for my team side. As for my other two co-founders, they are in the vape industry, right? So for our team right now, they are handling all of the traditional, the manufacturing, supply chain, hardware, development, engineering, logistic, compliance, even our networks, resources, connections with the other regional vape guys, vape industry parties. They are handling all of that. So I'm more like a Web3 side of the business, and they take care of the real traditional vape business for this company, because we are just a mix, right? So that's how we come together, we do this together, and this is like it's like a mixture of everything. You cannot let every part of this business leave it out. It's not gonna work. If this is a pure Web3 people trying to outsource to some sort of a vape guy, it's not gonna work, because it's just a lot of communication, coordination back and forth, and only by getting a team together as a whole, of the project, that you can make it happen.
100%. Just to do a quick summarize of what you just said. So I do agree. Most Web2 founders, first time in Web3 doesn't work because they rely on metrics that is not real. They don't understand the culture, meaning they don't understand the customers. They just think like all people that stay on the internet think the same. Secondly, I respect the fact that, and I like people that have the real business experience or mindset where they want to implement crypto as well while they are real crypto users. Bullish on that as well. And then I would like to say, so a lot of people think whitelist giving is just, it's just NFT, it's just whitelist gift listing. But I would like to emphasize on the part that is essentially like how you fundraise your initial community. It's almost like fundraising strategy. You need to allocate the right people in the right time that provides the right value to you. It's a very important art, in my opinion. And and obviously, your partners both support the real world side of things, as well as they truly trust you in the marketing side of things, which is as very common to happen in a lot of DePIN projects where you have this either the fully Web 2 guys running the things or the fully Web 3 guys running things where it becomes like pure Ponzi that cannot deliver a product, or a pure product that doesn't deliver enough Ponzi. I'm saying this because I have been around for the DePIN space for very not for a long time, but like I've been speculating for various DePIN for a long time because I'm a true believer. Like even though all this degenerate outfit, I'm a true believer of crypto bringing mass adoption, and I think the next step has to be real world asset DePIN. But I've been early too many times, so yeah, okay. Yeah, so here comes the edgy question. All right, there's a lot of skepticism around DePIN projects. What do you think what is the key to make a success? This is from all my dead bags and dust. And secondly, a lot of people are saying that, I know some factory in Shenzhen basically just be like, we got some old things, let's just slap some stickers and things on it. And then we're going to say, it's the new DePIN projects. I'm just going to say like, yeah, so I'd love to hear a comment on that, and how do you differentiate or improve from that in terms of positioning, views, and etc.
Yeah, it's a very very different DePIN project comparing to the other traditional DePIN projects, starting from Helium, right?
That's a fair point.
It's very different. It's very different because we are focusing on consumer. This is something consumable. You buy our vape. It's the thesis of us is that turning this. Initially, there's a lot of financial incentive, but at the end of the day, we are building a consumer brand. People should be just using your product, no matter if there's financial incentive or not. In the long term, I'm not saying for the next 3, 6, 9, or 12 months. I'm saying at the end of the day, maybe after 3-5 years, you should just build the top quality of the vaporizer that people are just going to choose you because of the quality of the product, because of that user experiences, instead of that financial incentive. Yes, it's always good to have some sort of financial incentive, but you know that if we are having 1 billion of a consumer on the platform, it's impossible to provide that huge financial incentive for all of them, right? It's impossible. There's no way. It's not going to work out. So for us, it's very different from other DePIN project because they are, some sort of sharing that resources in different industries. Their thesis is to share that resources and build that network effect. But for us, it's more like building a consumer network that since we have this platform, we can gather the first wave of the consumer onto this platform so that we can build a consensus around that consumer experiences. That's a huge difference between us and the other DePIN projects. So if you're asking me what do I think about other DePIN projects, we are not in the same segment. We call ourselves as a DePIN project because it's very easy to understand. But if you are looking into the DePIN, there should be different segments, and we are in the consumer space. We are not about a satellite. We are not about a map. We are not about GPU. Even though we are collecting tons of data from this vaporizer as for the respiratory disease related data, the health data from our smokers, from the sub-health population. But that's the other side of the story, right? That's B2B. That's not our focus for our smokers. We should just build a real crazy great vaporizers for our smokers instead of telling them, hey, today using our vaporizer, you can provide tons of data and we're helping you to monetize from your data. That's not our selling point. Yes, we're doing that, but that's the selling point to the data consumer, to the venture capitals, to the tech folks in the space who care about the data. But the real thing about a consumer is that nobody cares about the data as a consumer. If I'm paying you $5, you will just share your Twitter account with me. Trust me, a lot of people, they don't care about data privacy, data sovereignty. That's a very BS. Yeah. So to just come to back, at the end of the day, it's still a consumer business. Only by creating great product, great service as a consumer product that we can create a real cash flow, real business value for all of for this whole project, for this business model. That's the real business model. So if you're asking me for other DePIN projects, to be honest with you, today I still don't understand the business model for most of them. That's something I don't understand. That's something I don't understand. I haven't seen the great potential for the business model from that perspective. But like I said, I'm not in that space, so I'm not the best person to answer the question. I'm sorry, forgot it. What's the second question?
Shenzhen.
What's the second question? Forgot.
Quickie DePIN project from Shenzhen.
Okay, sorry. I'm not trying to dodge a question. All of our
No, it's
vapes
okay.
are made in all of our vapes are made in Canton, made in the province Cantonese, the factories. So yes, it's one of those Shenzhen factories. I'm not sure like why people are looking so down
Oh no,
on
no, no.
this,
I'm
or
not. I'm not. I'm
just
not.
so.
Sorry.
I'm
I
saying
don't.
I'm
I
saying
don't mean
for
to.
most some. No, 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 no. I'm saying for people, like just in general, people are trying to, position or marketing this thing as a, non Chinese or, the made in China, or try to put another story around it. I mean, I personally, I don't have a problem with that. But I also don't have a problem with telling people, hey, this vape are coming from China, because the whole vape industry is dominated by Chinese. What do you expect?
Yeah.
If this vape is not from China, where else do you want me to make that from? Even Elf Bar. Elf Bar is a Chinese company. Come on, people thought Elf Bar is a European or American brand. That's because they have a so great marketing strategy. They don't tell you they're from China, but Elf Bar's parent company is called iMiracle. It's a Shenzhen company. What do you expect from? This is the industry. And not just for the
Exactly.
vaporizers, wearables.
Pretty much every tech wearables. You're right.
All of the tech wearables, they are made in China. What do you expect? iPhone is made in China. What do you expect? If you're talking about DePIN, you're believing something else, right? If I'm telling you this is made in California, do you trust me? How expensive that will be? How many workers can I find? Am I Trump? How do I find a factory for you to build out that thing? It's just it's never gonna work. And if that's gonna be the price, if it's built in Europe or other countries, that price will be double, triple, and there's no real business model. It's not gonna work. So yeah, personally, I don't have a problem with that. And I do think because of the recent 5-10 years, the quality of the Chinese manufacturing, it's actually top tier. If you're looking at Huawei, doesn't matter if you have an opinion of Huawei or the Chinese government, they are making great shit. They are the e-vehicles, the wearables, the electronic devices. It's actually very great quality, and some of their phones is actually same pricing range with iPhone. And they can still sell tons of that phones. That means there's a real demand, a rigid demand there. Why consumers are willing to pay for the same price as the iPhone to buy a Huawei phone? There's a reason for that, right? People are paying for the quality, for the service. So I don't have a problem with introducing that. And also just for vaporizers, if I'm not saying that, then where else can I produce it? I have nowhere to go. So
I'm just gonna say that I love this take, and the reason that we asked that is I think because like I'm not saying some investors are like skeptical about that, but it's typically it becomes like a running joke. But like you're absolutely true, and I was like telling a couple of my like investor friends that they are, I think for a lot of people, DEFCON Thailand is going to be the first time that they see BYD. Dude, there's like all of the Grab drivers are freaking BYD, man, in Bangkok. It's like crazy. Like it's like this is the opposite of like ETCC. ETC, it's all like Mercedes, man.
yeah. Let's talk about a real business there.
Yeah. Dude, that was like an awesome answer, honestly. But like if you're not comfortable, like we can cut some of that part, but I think that's like a really cool take.
No, we had our first conversation. This is the exactly the same thing I was talking about, right? So I'm totally comfortable with just sharing all of this kind of information. I mean, we never dodged a question. It is made in China. What do you want me to do?
I
Yeah,
was.
yeah. Don't
All
worry.
right, all right. Bro, do you have
Sorry
any
about that.
thing you want to add? No, like
Yeah.
no worries.
I was breaking a little bit, but I heard some punchlines that I thought it was pretty funny, so I laughed along. But yeah, yeah, Marco, would you want to take the next question from here?
Yeah, no, I mean, so like, no, so like, I was mostly scrolling through your Twitter, and one tweet really caught my attention is when you said that founders who are tired of raising just spend 3 weeks building a simple TG game, and you can cash out 10 to 20K a month, right? So I guess this is also like a two-part question. But first, I'm curious so far, what's the learning and the experience of building a TG game, with regards to like the tech experience as well as the distribution that you're able to achieve because of that? And so that's the first question. And the second one, if you can talk a bit more about the monetization model there, like, is it mostly people buying stuff using like dogs and stars and not coin, or are they actually topping up money? What's like what have you been seeing so far?
Yeah, so I think that the great lesson I learned is that you need to really think through about how you want to retain the traffic. One thing that we could do better is about retaining the traffic. We have a great theme of the game. It's fun, but at the end of the day, what's your purpose to build a TG game? If you are Catizen, if you are just a TG game project, that's totally different, right? Because you want to just build everything within that TG game. But for us, it's different purpose. We want to use that TG game to introduce our pod, our different flavors of the pod, and the pod goes into the vaporizer. So we want to build that impression into our first-time users onto the platform. That's why we build that TG game as a go-to-market strategy or a go-to-market tool. So one thing we could do better is that how we can introduce the game to the users and then retain them or convert them and to stay within our TG group chat or Discord or just follow us in the long term. So we spent 3 weeks to build that TG game and just launch it as a go-to-market strategy. I think that's something we could do better, and I think that's the very great lesson I learned from the TG game. And we're gonna down this week, and we're gonna launch the second season, the third season later on. So it's gonna be a go-to-market thing for us in the long term. I think for us the difference is that we want to get more of the users from the TG ecosystem or from the CIS region or from anywhere that we haven't get a chance to get in touch with, because it's a physical product, right? We have to win different markets in different countries. So yeah, that's the purpose. And in terms of the payment, when I was tweeted about that, because I was talking with a lot of other TG games to hearing out what's their strategy and how fast, how much they can monetize. And I'm not gonna tell the name because this is kind of confidential.
Yep.
But some of them, the TG game users, the average purchasing power, the fact is that it's relatively lower than the DeFi or other general, the platform spaces.
Yep. Makes sense.
The average the amount of people to pay within the TG game it's lower. So that's the fact. That in that way you have to get a mass coverage, right? You have to make sure that in a very short period you have to get at least I would say 500,000 or even 1 mil of the users into your game. And that 1 million users, most of them could be just TG users or farmers. Doesn't matter. There are just a lot of them in different spaces. As long as you can get that 1 million users, you have a great retain strategy. You have a good gaming. All of them or most of them are willing to pay maybe 50 cents or $1 or $2 or $5 just to have fun there. And that's nice. Actually a lot of money per week or per month. That's how it comes with K or 20K US dollar per each month of the recurring revenue, because you have accumulated that amount of users. And I think that's the moment of turning this kind of Web3 game into a general 5 or like a mobile app game, like an Apple game. You have that that huge amount of users. So you don't need to care about what's the value for each user. As long as you have that amount of users, it's very easy to monetize. So that was like my idea. If you have a hard time to raise the fund, just use the TG game to launch a great, tiny TG game. And actually, TG game players, they don't have that high expectation from you to build a very fancy, complicated game. It's for fun. It's for people to just, kill the time when they're on the subway or, like Candy Crush, right? So it's the same idea like that. And it's actually a very great way for the founders to bootstrap his kind of, the career, the entrepreneurship career. So that's the background of that tweet. And in terms of the payment, no coin, everything, it's up to where you want to build your game, either on the Telegram or the Town network, or just do the off chain. It's up to you. So
yeah, before we go to the next question, for the readers that is not aware of it, do you mind doing like a quick intro of what you launch on Telegram game and what do you plan to do for the next season, to what to look forward for?
Yeah, so we launched it about 3 weeks ago, and it's called Puff Labs. So it's basically a tiny factory that a small bear, our mascot, a small bear, can create his own pod his own flavor pod using the ingredients, the mint, fruit flavor, different ingredients. So he has to make the pod, and he has to he has to harvest the pod after a certain time of period, and depends on the complexity, how complicated to make the pod. You can have different rarities of that flavor. So it's a way for us to introduce our flavored pod, or how you make the pod to pair with your vaporizers. And we have a ranking, we have a leaderboard, depends on the rarity of the pod, the amount of pod that you create in the same duration. So that the leaderboard will lead you to different rewards from our main game, which is our whitelist, discount of our Genesis pods, or even we can make the pod into a real pod. Like if you are making that flavor, we can give the top 10 players, for example, you make the pineapple flavor, right? We can make the pineapple flavor of the real pod, and with under the name of your name, use your name to name that flavor. So make it happen, from the virtual side to the physical side, make it happen. So that will bring more fun to the real users. And if you are a real a vape consumer, or a vape amateur, or someone from our real consumer, you will think that's fun. But if you are just an airdrop farmer, that's kind of boring for you. So it's actually a good way for us to filter those our target consumers from this game.
Nice. Okay. Initially, I want to ask you about like your biggest edge in DePIN, or biggest problem with DePIN. But overall, I think you have put out a great case how you guys are special as a consumer brand. And I guess you guys only use DePIN to ride the wave initially when you guys first launched, and it just kind of stuck with me. So I do apologize for that. But so just one thing that I still worry is that delivery of the actual product. Because is there first, I'm assuming the puff itself you can deliver and mail easily because there's no tobacco liquid in it. And then so love to hear more about the distribution, the actual delivery of things.
Yeah. So the distribution, it's still the same. You have to follow all the rules and regulations, compliance with every single country for their tobacco product, for the vape product regulations. So it's pretty the same. I would say the biggest difference at front is that because we have different partners in different countries. For example, one of our top market is Korea. So we actually work with our Korean partner. It's a juice company. It's a vape company. We will ship all of our empty pods to the Korean factory. So they will fill the juice there, and they will ship all of the product on behalf of us to our Korean users. So that's how we make sure on day one we will be not just full complying with the Korean law and legislation, but also we can go scale. We can go mass scale of the production or supply on day one with a Korean market. Different for other different countries, it's still the same. If we only have one user order from any country, then we're just going to ship the product to him just as a one-on-one package, door to door, and just pull the license to pull the tobacco or the nicotine, the vape device license in that country. Wherever the country is illegal, like India or Singapore, it's illegal. Hong Kong, it's illegal for the vape product. So we are not going to touch that country at all. We are just going to make it very clear on our website that if you are in this country, you can buy the NFT, but we have to pair with you with another user on our platform who cannot afford to buy the NFT. We can pair you guys together, and we're going to be the platform, be the middleman. Or you can designate a friend of you in another country. We can ship the vape to your friend's address directly, so that we just want to make sure that we will not be able to ship you any of the tobacco product to your country since it's illegal. So that's something we're not going to do.
Understood. I'm just telling you that I'm moving out of where I'm right now, so just to use your product. All right.
That's very bullish.
So like I actually want to, like, this is not a question, but it's more of just like a statement of me like saying it out loud. But I think what's really interesting based on this conversation so far and how you position yourself, to me personally, is that a lot of the other DePIN kind of positions themselves as utility, and it's more about like the rewards and sort of like ownership of the network. But I think you struck what I personally think is a much better angle as just like, this is eventually, it's a consumer brand, and you buy this because you like it as a brand, you like it as a product, and the DePIN-ish mechanism on the back end is to sort of like support. It becomes like a complementary feature instead of sort of just like, hey, all that we're doing is basically selling hardware that allows you to do money arbitrage, right? Because if you're doing that business model, it's much harder to balance the supply and demand dynamics. That's what happened with like helium, right? It's very hard to sell those data, as you said, so right. A lot of the DePIN projects, if you really strip it down and just like see the fundamental business models, it's very, very hard for them to like sustain. So like, yeah, I just want to like paraphrase that for our listeners, because I think it's a smart angle to argue that yes, eventually like we are going to make money because you like our brand and you like our products, and we are going to sell vapes just like all of these other vapes, and yeah, that I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm just wondering if you want to add like anything to what I just said in case I get things wrong. Yeah,
I'm totally agree with you. I think that's the whole point of why why people hear about the first time people hear about a Vape2Earn. Oh, it's a Ponzi, it's not sustainable. But when you're really looking into this product, you have to realize that if you are a smoker, if you are a vapor, we're just building a product that, as a non-crypto guy, as a non-Web3 speculator, you are still vaping. Even for the DeFi folks, they're still vaping. So it's not about a financial. If you are confident, we are confident that we can build this product as a real cool vape product. So that's how we can retain them on this platform to just keep buying our product in the future. This is just the first generation product. We are also doing tons of other products. We're doing part of our background. Also, Marco, you know this. Our background is we are the global supplier for ICOS, for Philamaris, for the heat no burn vaporizer, which is very, very popular in Japan and Korea and Europe. So we are also doing the heat no burn ICOS, that type of vaporizer, turn it into the to earn game. We are also doing the R&D for the smoke weed to earn cannabis vapes. That's our business in the US. We do a lot of dry herb vapes similar to packs. So smoke weed to earn is gonna go crazy, even crazier than the vape that we're doing in globally right now. And we're doing
that's for East Denver.
We're also yes, you're right. Next year, East Denver. Let's go. We're also even doing the Shisha to earn. We're doing the Shisha to earn right now. So there are just a lot of different products we are working on, and we are pretty confident it's gonna work out based on the current mechanism and the hardware technology. So there's no doubt that we can push all of the product to the market in a very short term. So that's how we can build this brand as a consumer brand and keep attracting people to stay with us as our consumer. That's not something, I don't think that's part of other DePIN project. That's why I'm keep saying that's our difference. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Just one last question before we go off. What do you think it takes to make it in crypto?
I'm sorry, say that again. It cut off a little bit.
What do you think it takes to make it in crypto?
What do you think to make it in crypto?
Or what do you think it takes? What kind of like trade personality, or just like what does it take to make it in crypto?
I would say thick face. So do you understand me? Like don't have any ego. Don't have any ego. You cannot let the ego kill you as a trader, as anyone. Like you have to build your own brand, right? In crypto, it's very important to build your own brand as a KOL, as a opinion leader, as a founder, as a guy. You have to build your own brand in crypto. I think that we have that consensus. So when you are building out that your brand, when you're trying to do something to share your opinion with everyone else, you will get FUD, you will get challenged. You will get a lot of that kind of noise, but you have to just be very determined to stay with your goal and don't let that ego to come to kill you. And I think that's very important, because when everybody is saying, "Oh, you got to buy this token," that's not a thing. You gotta run. Like you're gonna be the exit liquidity there. If everybody is saying good about you, you should think carefully. Am I doing something wrong? Like, why is everybody shilling about you? If everybody is fighting about you, that means you're doing something new. Most likely, you are doing something new, and you should just stay. You should be tough. You should be tough. You should be just very stick to your own goal and make it happen. It's like, I would just say, like, when I was writing the white paper, I pitched this Vape2Earn idea to a lot of investors, especially Asian investors. I'm sorry, this kind of, it's kind of, it's an edgy conversation, right? It's an edgy conversation. So I think it's a culture thing. It's a culture thing. When you are introducing marijuana, when you are introducing vape, tobacco stuff to an Asian investor, they're kind of, just want to stay away from it naturally. But when you are pitching the Vape2Earn, you should think about DePIN. You should think about if it's fun. Web3 folks are looking for fun, looking for new ideas, right? So I had a lot of, very sad point, like turning me down. A lot of that kind of turn down that kind of moment with the Asian investors. But fortunately, I met some great folks and who supported me from day one, and we made this happen. If like for the first 20 investors turning me down, and I probably will doubt myself, this is not something people are looking for, or not that kind of determined to build this thing, not that ambitious to build this thing, I probably will give up already, because it's a lot of risks, because you have to build a real product. It's not like a demo. This, for the DePIN, I would just add on top of the DePIN, it's very hard for the DePIN, or the moat for the DePIN is because you have to invest a lot upfront, not only just for the software. You have to build a demo for 2 developers. To build a demo at a hackathon only take them 48 hours. But for a DePIN project, to build a demo, to build a hardware, to build a prototype, that takes a lot of time, a long time, and a lot of capital, right? Upfront investment. So that's already a very great proof to show you that this team is very ambitious, is very determined to build this thing out. Otherwise, they will not have that prototype. So, like I said, it's just a lot of that kind of thing. You have to stay with you, stay by yourself, and to make it happen.
100%.
This has been awesome, man. Yeah. Is there anything that you want to share with our listeners, like all of that? Yeah.
Before we go that, is there a question that you want to ask us?
Okay.
Yeah, I really want to ask you guys, what's your most bullish project, anything in the space for this month or last month that you've seen? Any new project, the most bullish project?
Not gonna lie, I can go first because I know Marco gonna polish it up and make it sound like professional and shit. But for this month, for new stuff, right? This is not in any order. It's just what things that I see that can be interesting. I think AI meme is interesting for the past 4 days. I wrote a thread on randomly coming across it and aping it for 4 days straight. I'm done with that. I don't think we should continue that. I think Sony, the chain, I still don't know how they picked the freaking name. I cannot say it out, but the Sony chain, they just introduced their incubation program or something like that. I haven't been through the list yet, but I think there's something interesting there. I built same thesis, and just like your DePIN project, I think they have that edge where they can merge the Sony ecosystem into it. So that can be something interesting. Other than that, I think that's about it. And not just new project-wise, there's something going on with a lot of incentives in Phantom, Sway, and I think there's a lot of things that will be coming up for Aptos just because it's a catch-up trade to Sway as well. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I'm like, this is not a cop-out answer, but I've been playing a lot with no, dude, shut up. No, like I've been playing a lot with meme coin tooling. So like specifically, it's like the Feigns bot on Telegram and those kind of things. And I think again, it still is the same as what you said earlier. Like I like to see some of these more of like bootstrap developers that are creating these smaller tools, but they're actually like really cash flowing. And I think the whole space is just like a little bit tired of like, perhaps like the L2 launches in the past couple of years. Like when I see these like little tools and these bots and I go deeper, sort of like, holy, like they're actually like making bank, right? And it's actually like a useful tool. Like you can just add the bot to a group. You can just like do a bunch of stuff there. For like, it's a very traditional business model, but I like the fact that we are seeing more and more of those type of products. It's just sad that it's all like around meme coin trading because that's where the PMF is. But yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, learn a lot. I'll start to Google everything that you just said. I love learning new project. Yeah, that's just that's my take for my take. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, before we go off, if you have time, play around with Line or Kakao Talk to see what. Because as a builder, that's something with Ton. I would love to hear your thoughts on doing something there. The mini app.
You mean Line? You mean Talk?
Yes.
I actually just downloaded Kakao Talk like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I
So
still
they're
need
pushing
some time to explore.
Yeah, let's chat more. Like, I would love to hear your thoughts on that. As like, to me, it's just a catch-up trade, but I don't know. Like, love to hear from the builder side of things as well. But yeah, all right, guys. Thank you for your time today. Thank you, everyone's time. That's a wrap. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming, Reffo.
Thank you.